In our first reading for this weekend, the prophet Elijah is on the run for his life. The evil Queen Jezebel, who was wife of the weakling king of Israel, Ahab, is on the hunt for him, and his life is at stake. As he's fleeing Jezebel and Ahab, Elijah goes through several beautiful stories about how God nurtures and takes care of him in his neediness. And he finally gets to this cave where God told him to go. He is full of fear. He is hiding in the cave, deep within the cave. And those events start to take place. And then, probably how he least expected it to happen, the Lord came by in a tiny whisper. And he went to the opening of the cave, overcoming his fear because of the presence of the Lord. He stands at the mouth of the cave and covers his face with a cloak. For God is passing by. Today's gospel reading has a very similar theme to it. And it follows directly, the verses follow directly from last Sunday's passage about the loaves and fishes. How there had been more than enough to satisfy 5,000 plus people, and 12 wicker baskets left over. There was an abundance of God and God's presence. And then the passage picks right up. Did you notice Jesus made them get into the boat? It wasn't he said, well, maybe if you guys want to, you can go ahead and go to the other side, and I'll be along later. He made them get into the boat and go out on the lake, to go out on the water. He made them go out on the waters of baptism on a journey, a lake and a water that we've been in already. In our little boats, which are our lives, oftentimes storms came up on that lake. These were experienced fishermen. They knew the Sea of Galilee, probably like you know the palm of your own hand. But there is, in that volcano cone, which is the Sea of Galilee, in the northwest corner, there's a passageway where the mountain doesn't meet the side of the walls, doesn't meet, and storms come through there. You know, today, all the fishermen on the Sea of Galilee would have their radars on, because they have radar there now that tells them when that storm's coming through, but they couldn't see it coming in those days. And it was night besides. And a storm blew up, and the wind was against them. What wind? The wind of life, the winds of life, the winds of fear. Probably more fear about fear than it is about anything else. It is, isn't it, one of our greatest needinesses, if you will. We have all kinds of them. We fear the future. We fear illness. We fear death. We fear all kinds of losses of people, of jobs, of people we love. We fear economic times. We fear rejection, a lack of acceptance. We're afraid if people really knew us, they wouldn't love us anymore. So we all play hide and seek. All of us. We have all kinds of fears. Fears that people won't like us if we choose a certain thing or go a certain way or do a certain kind of thing. We're loaded with them. They live inside, and they direct our lives, unfortunately. They paralyze us, especially in our life with Christ. They prevent us from speaking when we should speak, and of being quiet when we should be quiet. Those fears shut us down. We know we should reach out, but we won't. We know we should ask, but we don't. They really are the great enemy of faith and of trust in His presence. They cry out in fear, and He says, take courage. It's me. It's Jesus. Don't be afraid. I'm here with you. And did you notice in the story, I always love this story, Peter gets out. First of all, he asks for something and he gets it. It's a little warning to be careful what you pray for. You might get it. He asks, let me walk on the water just like you are, and he gets it. And he's fine. Until what? One thing happens. Remember, the wind, life, was against the boat. It was a trouble. It was a difficult time. The wind is coming in. He steps out. He's on the water. He's fine. And then he takes his eyes off of Jesus, his mind off his Savior, and he puts it back on the wind, the troubles, and down he goes. But he's not done. Lord, save me. Sure. Lord, save me. Always present, always enough, always with me, always in my boat. Did you notice when he got in the boat what happened to the wind? There was a calm that came, like the calm that comes in us when the wind of life is against us and when we're full of fear, and the one who is always present is in our boat, is with us always. Lord, save me from my fears.